Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon. Last time, we started up the Inkling Squid set of challenges here via the Amiibo challenges. And today, we're continuing on with World 2. So, let's scan our Inkling Squid and get started. Why hello there, how goes it? Pretty good. I'm ready to tackle our next set of challenges, which, this time around, isn't a Kraken challenge. It's something completely different. But let's go into level 4 here, Gusher Gauntlet. Take to the skies. So this here is our first limited ink challenge, a brand new challenge type that we haven't experienced yet here in Splatoon. This challenge has us playing through an entire level with only a set amount of ink in our ink tank. We cannot recover ink while swimming around in our squid form, and once we are out of ink, then that is going to cost us a life. Now, thankfully, when you run out of ink and you hit a checkpoint, you will resume from your previous checkpoint. You don't start the whole level over again. But whatever ink you have crossing over a set checkpoint, that is what you'll have when you respawn. So you gotta keep that in mind and be careful how much ink you use. But you can still fire your gun, you can still use your splat bombs here, you just have to be doing it in moderation. Now, one thing is that I would not recommend using your splat bomb here in these ink challenges unless you absolutely need to, as splat bombs take up 70% of your ink tank. And while you do have more than the normal amount of ink in these set challenges, you still want to be careful of how much ink you do use, as some sections, like the one here for example, I have to fight all of these enemies in front of me, which is going to take up a lot of ink. So once I'm out of that ink tank on the bottom left, then I start using what is on my back. And once that's out, then that is going to be the end of my said character. So I'm trying to be very careful and only using ink in sections I need to. But that is our first limited ink challenge complete. For beating Gusher Gauntlet, we get ourselves 900 gold, a good chunk of change. But let's go ahead and move on to our next level here, which is yet another limited ink challenge. Level 5, Floating Sponge Garden. Soak it up! So the Floating Sponge Garden here is our second limited ink challenge. We have more ink to work with here in this said challenge, but 1.5 ink tanks is still going to be very limited when we have to shoot a lot of sponges just to traverse the next section. Plus, we also have to be mindful that some sections we're going to have to fight enemies just to traverse. So I'm going to try my best to avoid a lot of encounters, and also we're going to be filling up these sponges just enough so we can get to the next section without having to fill up these things any more than necessary, as you don't need to fill these sponges all the way up to max to get to a lot of these different sections. So that's going to help quite a lot. Here are our checkpoint. I'm going to be spraying up this area a little bit, and now we can climb the wall and have a little ink on the other side to trap these said octo balls and take them out. We can avoid taking out the octo balls here, but it is a little bit harder to climb up the said sponge with the octo balls in play. But in this section, we don't even need to do anything here because these octo balls are just going to try to attack us, but because the sponge is a solid object, they're just going to fall straight into the bottomless pit, ending themselves instead of us having to worry about spotting those said enemies. Here, I'm going to try to avoid confrontation as best as I can, and thankfully those bombs, while they saw where I was going, they didn't explode, so that made things a lot easier on us. We had to fight a single enemy in this section, while at the same time, conserving a lot of our ink tanks. I'm going to shoot this sponge once, I'm going to shoot the ground so I can get moving, I'm going to shoot this one a couple times, being very careful here as this enemy is going to attempt to shrink down my said sponge, but I'm just going to play things very safe. Try to fill up these sponges a little bit more. You have to fill this one up even more, which is unfortunate, but this is okay. And we're at the final checkpoint. Got ourselves a cannon here, so I'm going to use this cannon to destroy these enemies, because these guys are going to be a problem. Gonna take this guy out because I have more than enough ink, and that's the nice thing at this point. I'm being very careful with my ink tank so I can make certain decisions now at the end that I would normally never want to do in a limited ink challenge. Saving your ink for certain parts is very crucial for these challenges, as it is very advantageous to be able to take out enemies in very dangerous sections, just like that ending. But now with Floating Sponge Garden complete, we got ourselves 1,000 gold, which is a nice chunk of change. Let's move on to our next level here, which is a Kraken speedrun. Level 7, Spreader Splatfest. Ink stains and teardrops. Three minutes on the clock, starting now. Let's speedrun this Splatfest. This is just like an actual Splatfest. 3 minutes of turf war. If it's anything like a real Splatfest, the last 30 seconds are really only going to matter. The rest of this might as well not exist. But we're going to try to beat this as fast as possible so that last 30-second mark won't be an issue. In fact, it might be just like a good game where you're pushing in as much as you can in your set turf war, where no matter how much time is left on the clock, the enemy team is going to have a much harder time coming back to a point where they may not even have a chance to win. The last 30 seconds is usually when turf war is fully determined, but if you're good enough as a team to push the enemy back far enough where they can't even get into the map at all, then the entire game might as well just be that victory, because keeping your enemies stuck in their base for a good chunk of the game guarantees victory, and that doesn't even just go for turf war. That goes for every mode in the game. Splat zones, tower control, rainmaker, and even clan blitz in future games. And talking about all of the said pushing enemies into base tactics, which was enough for us to get through the Spreader Splatfest in record time. For beating Spreader Splatfest, we got ourselves 1,100 gold, which is a good chunk of change and record time to boot. Let's go ahead now and fight the boss here, World 2, now we've completed all the levels here. Shooting the Sneeze, the dreaded Octo Nozzle. The Octo Nozzle is back. We're going to be using a combination of Kraken and also our main weapon here, as this boss, while you can attack its weak points in the center of its body with the Kraken, it's not recommended because the ink down below will kill you if you land in that, no matter if you're Kraken or human. So it's best to use a combination of your main weapon and Kraken in this said fight. And in fact, it might actually be better just not even to use Kraken outside of movement here, because the hero shot will be able to do a lot when it comes to the said fight. Be able to weaken the said boss, you'll be able to attack this thing from a distance by just hitting the tentacle from down below, and also it's good just for getting you out of situations as fast as possible. So it's, while nice to have Kraken in this fight, it's not gonna change much compared to how you play this normally in Octo Valley. Mainly, we're invincible while swimming around, while also being able to swim a lot faster than normal. That's basically the only extra stuff we get here while using our set Kraken form. Everything else kind of feels the same as if you're playing this boss fight in the main single-player campaign. So let's go ahead, shoot that tentacle one more time, and with that, that is the Octo Nozzle defeated. Honestly, really not a different fight at all using Kraken here compared to just playing this normally back in Octo Valley. Can't see because of the ink on the screen. Please go away so I can grab my Zapfish. And with that, that's the Octo Nozzle defeated using the Kraken. For defeating the Octo Nozzle with Kraken, we get ourselves Power Armor, which has quick respawn as its primary ability. That's a cool looking set of armor. Really excited to see how this thing is going to look when we have all three pieces. But so far, that's 2 pieces of the Power Armor set, and now that is all of the World 2 challenges here completed. ready to move on here to World 3 here with the Inkling Squid, but we're going to be doing that in the next episode. Next time on Let's Play Splatoon, we'll be making our way through World 3 here via the Inkling Squid challenges. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.